Hey there. So this will be a quick, well, I always say that, video for you to look at. This is mostly going to be just a review to help you establish where you are right now in your final session process. Okay, first of all, you will hopefully have imported your AAF file by now. And when you do that, this is one of the things that I look for in the session, and because this is something that will basically separate, professionals from the amateurs when it comes to Pro Tools sessions. Number one, right here, your video, always the top track. You always have this at the top. Why? Because this is an audio mixing program. We want the video at the top, and then the rest of it, everything below it, is the audio. Number two, what comes below the video? The dialogue tracks. We've got the boom, we've got the lav, we've got another lav, and this is for person B boom, person B lav 1, person B lav 2. Now, in this case, you'll notice it says DX. What happens is this is a very small window in order to describe what the track is, right? So there's a common standard abbreviation for all the different elements of sound design. Remember, there's 5 of them. Dialogue, background effects, sound effects like explosions, gunfire, Foley. Foley actually is its own category. And then music. So dialogue, background effects, sound effects, Foley, and music. So you want to make sure that your session is laid out in descending order of those different elements. So all of your dialogue tracks, or DX tracks, are at the top. We've got person B here. So we've got person B's boom, person B's lav, and person B's second lav. And then we have person C. This is a scene that has 3 people. Person C's boom, person C's lav, person C's additional lav. And it looks like we're actually doing some ADR for person C. So we've added an ADR track, but it's technically a dialogue track. So we name it DXC for person C ADR. And then there's person A boom, person A lav 1, and person A lav 2. And remember, these are all dialogue scenes, so they all are DX scenes. Below that, we've got room tone. This is our background, remember? So we like to actually we could call it background room tone. Or if we can actually be a little more specific, because there's different types of backgrounds. Room tone is one type of background. There's another thing called wild sounds. Wild sounds tend to be more outdoor related ambient sounds. Backgrounds are generally ambient sounds. And room tone is a type of background ambient sound. Wild sounds, which would be like sort of like sounds in nature, sounds of traffic outside, sounds of the city. To build ambiance, those tend to be more wild sounds because they're a little more out of control. They're wild. They're in nature. They're outdoors. Room tone is inside a house. It's inside a room. It's usually a refrigerator, air conditioner, chitter chatter, things that actually are under human control. So, but this all falls under the umbrella of background. But what I like to do is, since this is room tone, I call it RT for room tone. And this one is actually, let's see, it's room tone, I would just say room tone empty room. Because we recorded that on the set, we might as well use it, right? Then this particular scene, this is actually takes place in a bar. So we call this, I got some stock sounds from a sound library of just sort of bar noise. So I call this RT bar 1. And then I found that that bar noise wasn't good enough, so I'm going to layer it. I'm going to layer in some ambiance. You'll find that a lot of times room tone, just laying down one track of room tone, calling it a day, isn't enough. You need to make the room unique. You need to make it your own. Sure, this is a track of bar sounds, but is it a Western bar? Is it a rowdy bar? Are there people hooting and hollering? Is it a bar where maybe older people go to drink martinis and sit in silence? Who knows? Maybe there's a lot of bottles clanking. Maybe there's pinball machines going on in the background. You need to layer all that stuff in depending on what you see on the screen. So one layer of bar sounds isn't enough. So as of now, I'm layering them in, and I've got another one. This is RT Bar 2, and this one actually has some bottles clanking in it. So just so I know that, I'll say RT Bar 2 for room tone bar number 2, and I'll put bottles. Okay. And then later in the scene, they go out to this sort of quad area. It's like on a college campus. So I haven't finished that one yet, but I have laid down a track, RT Quad 1, and I'll probably need another one. So I could always go here, go to New, RT Quad 2. And I will most likely maybe even have a third one because I want to have people. I want to have birds chirping. It's supposed to be like sort of like a Harvard type of place. So there's like going to be birds chirping, squirrels nibbling on acorns, people playing frisbee and going woo in the background. That's all stuff we have to layer in track by track of room tone, background, and ambiance. I haven't done any Foley yet or sound effects. So I might as well add them in here. So new track, and remember, we've got to use the abbreviations. FX1. I'll say what should we say? FX1. Gosh, that's a good question. This isn't a bar, right? FX1, let's see, bottle slam. Maybe there's like a bottle slamming on the bar. And then, let's see here, FX2, let's call this, I don't know, maybe someone's getting sick in the background. And so I'll say FX2 barf. Maybe someone's barfing in the background. Maybe it's one of those super wild bars. Now, that wouldn't really be ambiance. These would be very specific sound effects. Ambiance tends to be a long track of just sort of like background noise. Things like bottles clanking on the ground, or someone throwing up, or someone going, hey! Those are specific sound effects because they're specific, they're quick, and they're usually 1-2 seconds at the most. Ambiance tends to be, or room tone or background tends to be long and stretching over the whole track because it's ambiance. Then they're going to have some Foley underneath the effects track. So create a Foley track called FO, and let's see. This one, there's a thing where someone is going like this, rubbing their hands on their shirt. I'll put hands. There'll probably be several Foley tracks. I'll just lay down a couple right now. There's another Foley track, I'm sure. What do they do here? Footsteps, feet, people walking in, people walking out. And then last but not least, we've got the music. There's actually, takes place in a bar. The first part of the scene, there's like this country western song playing. So I actually already made a track called MX. I'll rename it. So you can double click on it and rename it if you want. Bar. So that's music bar. And then call this MX for music quad. So quick review. This is the order you should go in. if your project has all these things. Video at the top, then all of your dialogue tracks, one after another, grouped by character. So this is character B, boom, lav, lav. Character C, boom, lav, lav, and actually some ADR. In this case, we're doing ADR on character C, not on any other people. And then character A, DXA boom, DXA lav, DXA lav 2, and then we've got our background effects after the dialogue. Room tone empty room, room tone bar 2 with bottles. As you can see, they last a long time, but I'm still going to have to loop them. We also have a part of the scene in the quads. So room tone quad 1, room tone quad 2. I still have to construct that ambience, but I definitely know it's going to be at least 2 tracks, so I might as well get them ready. Then after your background and room tone ambient tracks, you've got your FX tracks. I've got specific bottle hits, and I've got a part of the scene where someone's throwing up. So FX1, bottles, FX2, barf. And then I've got Foley. So Foley is its own sort of family of sound effects, so it gets its own category. So underneath effects, we've got Foley. We've got hand stuff, and then we've got footsteps. So we've got Foley hands, Foley feet. And then last on the list is music. We got music in the bar, and we've got music in the quad. And so MX bar, MX quad. So DX for dialogue, and then different types of background effects. So we mostly do RT for room tone, RT quad 1, RT quad 2 for room tone. Then sound effects, specific sound effects like bottles clanking or someone throwing up in this case. Foley effects, we're going to have hands and feet at the very least. And then music, MX. So that's the order we want.